Dava Kunja Bihari Jayurada Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivardhari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanajani. Meet cartels? Meet cartels? Jumano Tiravanajani. Jayurada Madhava Kunda Bihari Jayurada Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivardhari Gopi Jana Ballava Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanajari Yamuna Tiravanajari Jayurada Madhava Kunda Bihari Jayurada Madhava Kunda Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vriviraj Gacharya Astu Tarasata Shishiman. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai. Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Shri Nishingane Bhagavan Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sangha Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, Shri Shri Guru and Guranga, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th Canto, Chapter 4, Text 66. Thank you, Prabhu. Chapter is entitled Ambarish Maharaj Offended by Durvas Muni. Which is interesting name of the chapter because who's thinking they're offended? I thought it was a misprint. Now there was Durvas Muni offended by Ambarish Maharaj. That's what he thinks. But the chapter says, the title says the reality that actually Ambarish has been offended. Mayi Nirbadha Hridayaha Sadhavaha Samadarshanaha Vashe Kurvanti Mam Bhaktya Satstriyaha Satpatim Yata Mayi Nirbadhan Hridayaha Sadhava Samadarshanaha Vashe Kurvanti Mam Bhaktya Satstriya Satpatim Yata Mayi Nirbadha Hridayaha Sadhava Samadarshinaha Vashe Kurvanti Mam Bhaktya Satstriya Satpatim Yata Mayi Nirbadha Hridayaha Sadvaha Samadarshanaha Vashe Kurvanti Mam Bhaktya Satstriya Satpatim Yata. Please chant. Ladies? One more. Urvanis, Mayi, unto me, Nirbadha Hridayaha, firmly attached in the core of the heart. Sadhavaha, the pure devotees. Samadarshanaha, who are equal to everyone. Vashe, under control. Kuravanti, they make. Mam, unto me. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Satstriyaha, chaste women. Satpatim, unto the gentle husband. Yata, as. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. As chaste women bring their gentle husbands under control by service, the pure devotees who are equal to everyone and completely attached to me in the core of the heart bring me under their full control. So please repeat. As chaste women bring their gentle husbands under control by service, the pure devotees who are equal to everyone and completely attached to me in the core of the heart bring me under their control. Srila Prabhupada's purport. In this verse, the word samadarshanaha is significant. The pure devotee is actually equal toward everyone, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:54. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu. Universal brotherhood is possible when one is a pure devotee, pandita samadarshinaha. A pure devotee is actually learned because he knows his constitutional position. He knows the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he knows the relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is saying he's learned because he knows his position, the position of the Lord, and the relationship between the living entities and the Lord. Thus he has full spiritual knowledge and is automatically liberated, Brahma Bhutaha. He can therefore see everyone on the spiritual platform. He can comprehend the happiness and distress of all living entities. He understands what is happiness to him is also happiness to others, and that what is distress to him is distressing for others. He is therefore sympathetic to everyone. As Prahlad Maharaj said, Soche tato vimukcha tetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya baram udhavahato vimudhan. 7.9.43. People suffer from material distress because they are not attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure devotee's chief concern, therefore, is to raise the ignorant mass of people to the sense of Krishna consciousness. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Picharnane Nirvasesha Srinivadi Paschatadi Satarnane. So, I know this is the English class and downstairs is the Bengali class, so I have to begin by apologizing. I don't really speak English, I speak American. So please, I don't think there's a third choice of an English class somewhere else, so you just have to tolerate. I'll try to speak slowly and pronounce as best I can. So this verse and this whole series of verses are a great study of many things, including psychology. Because here we're learning about the psychology or the mental state or the way of thinking of a very powerful yet ultimately materialistic person, Durvasa Muni. The psychology of a devotee, Ambarish, and then Prabhupada further elaborates, Ambarish Maharaj, and even the Lord. Here the Lord is revealing his own way he thinks, the way he thinks and why he thinks, and what influences him and what, as he says, actually controls him. So we've seen how Durvasa Muni was easily offended, looking at his mentality. He was easily offended by really what wasn't even an offense. You know, you've been reading this story for so many verses. Ambarish had to break his fast. He wasn't sure what to do. The rules seemed in contradiction. He didn't know, so he approached the brahmanas. He said, what do you suggest? They said, okay, well, drink water, and that way you're doing both. Reasonable. But Durvasa Muni didn't think it was reasonable. He became offended. Why? Durvasa Muni is also a highly advanced soul. I mean, he's going throughout the universe. He's going to see Shiva. He's going to see Brahma. He's going to see the Lord himself. So he's not just an ordinary guy, right? It's like here, you can't even get in the gate if you don't have the certain kind of clothes on. What to speak of trying to go to another planet, what to speak of Shiva, etc. So he's a very, very powerful person. But he has this problem. The most blatant of which is he's just proud. And because he's proud, all of his other problems come. He's thinking, I'm a Brahmana. Just like we sometimes may think, I'm an American, or I'm British, or I'm from Lithuania, or I'm Bengali, or I'm a Dambasi, or I'm a man, or I'm a mother of 6 children. You only have 2, or whatever. We may think in different ways. And yesterday in the MAC and MEB meetings, we were talking about plans to kind of increase the security, especially with the TOVP opening in a few years. So one of the things presented to us was one of the biggest challenges of increasing the security is devotees don't want to go along with the security. Because the standard response is when the security says, no, you should go in this entrance, the standard response is, do you know who I am? Similar mentality. So, opposed to this mentality of Ambarish, we've been seeing the mentality, of Durvasa Muni. We've also seen the mentality of Ambarish Maharaj, who, although he didn't do anything wrong, he's thinking, actually, I'm the offender. Durvasa did everything wrong, and he's thinking it's your fault. Ambarish didn't do anything wrong, and he's thinking it must be my fault. So difference in mentality. And because of that, he's not only thinking like that, he acts accordingly. He continued his fast. Imagine that. He just, what can I do? I just have to continue fasting. And of course, when this powerful demon showed up, he was just, okay, must be my destiny because I must be an offender, so I'll surrender to Krishna. Whereas Durvasa Muni, as is pointed out in a couple of purports, as soon as he was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra, he immediately ran. He didn't stop and say, okay, you're the enemy, you're the agency of the Lord. I'll accept whatever's due me. He thought, oh my gosh, let's get out of here quick. So he's running, right? Prabhupada tells the story about he was walking with a policeman once, and off in the distance some men saw them coming and immediately ran. So Prabhupada said, why are they running? He said, we're just walking together peacefully. He said, well, they must be some criminals. They see me coming as a policeman, so immediately they're running. Even though I'm just walking down the street, they see, a policeman. So Durvasa Muni, he's running, trying to get away. So for Durvasa Muni, it boils down to, in simple modern terms, it's all about position, power, and status. That's his mentality. My position, my power, and my status. I'm powerful. I'm a Brahmana. I have so many followers. I'm going to do some ritual. You've offended me. And that's his mentality. Now I'll curse you. That's his perspective of the world. Whereas Ambarish Maharaj, it's about devotion and it's about doing the right thing. And we can see in this story, the Bhagavatam is so wonderful, we see what's the end of the whole story. What does Durvasa Muni's power, position, prestige, status, and pride, where does it leave him? It leaves him panic-stricken, running around the universe, trying to figure out, how do I get out of this problem? Whereas Ambarish is just continuing to pray, peacefully absorbing his mind in Krishna and accepting whatever's meant to come. So we can see that the major difference in their consciousness. And it gives us an option in terms of how do we want to think, what mentality do we want to develop, and helps us also see the pitfalls of of both. And we see also in this verse, for the benefit of Durvasa Muni, even though he's offended Ambarish Maharaj, the Lord is so kind because he's trying to help him. And he's revealing to him very actually intimate information. Durvasa is a big offender, but then when he comes to the Lord and says, I really need your shelter, the Lord actually describes to him about the nature of spiritual energy. He's trying to help him get free from his problems, but what he's basically telling him is, actually, Durvasa, you have to change your consciousness. That's the problem. The problem isn't the Sudarshan Chakra. The problem isn't Ambarish Maharaj. The problem isn't Brahma didn't have enough power to help you, and Shiva didn't have the ability to help you, and I'm not going to help you either. In that sense, I'm not going to fix this for you, modern language. I'm not going to fix this for you, Bubba. This is your problem. Who's responsible here? I may be the Supreme Lord. He's going to tell him, I may be the Supreme Lord, but actually this is beyond my control. It's interesting. You think you're such a big controller that you're offended. And he's still in that mentality. He's starting to feel the pressure, though. He's a little more open for some instruction now. He's a very proud person. And all of us, we've probably seen, when someone is very proud, a lot of times, usually what comes with that is, I'm not willing to hear. Somebody can give us very good instruction, but if I'm proud, who are they to instruct me? See, of course, Chanakya said a wise person takes good instruction even from a fool. So if we're wise, our ears are wide open, ready to take instruction every moment. And the fact is, Krishna is giving us instruction every moment, but we don't want to see it. We don't want to hear it. So Durvasa is kind of like that. So Krishna is kind of massaging his false ego. Through, what is it, a year? He's been going around the universe for a year or something like that? It's huge length of time, length and breadth in the universe, and he's running out of places to go. So he's a little desperate. So he's a little, the Lord's described Narayan's understanding. He's ready to hear. But it's interesting because Durvasa Muni is still trying to use power, status, and prestige. He goes to see Brahma. Hey, Brahma, you're a big man. Remember me? I'm a big man too. Can you help me out? I need a little help here. We're friends, right? Can you help me out? Don't embarrass me or anything. Just make this problem go away, please. Brahma says, sorry, can't do it. What do? Go see Shiva. Goes to Lord Shiva. Hey, it's me. Remember me? Durvasa. We've been to a few parties together. We know a few friends. I got connections. I got to your place, didn't I? I got through the doorman. Remember me? I'm a big guy. Shiva says, sorry, can't help you. And then he goes to Lord Vishnu again, trying to use his power, his prestige, his status. Hey, it's me. Can you help me out here? And again, the Lord says, sorry, can't do it. See, you don't understand how things work here. Your power, your status, your prestige, your pride has bewildered you so much you don't really understand how things work. And that's the nature of materialistic life, is people don't really understand how things work. Because he's telling him, actually, Durvasa, you are the problem. Your mentality is the problem, and you need to work on yourself. Here comes the chakra. You want to work on yourself now? Or you want to just keep trying to pull your status? I know the department head, I know the divisional head, I know the MAC member. I'll call Guru Maharaj. He'll get me out of this mess. Or do you want to fix yourself? Because the Lord explains to him, unlike you, who are you're buried practically. You're at the face of death because of your material consciousness. But unlike you, the devotees don't have these problems. Ambarish Maharaj doesn't really have this problem. And then he goes on and describes in this verse about the nature of pure devotees. So he's using this opportunity to instruct him, and he says a few things in this particular verse. He says, unlike you, the devotees see equally. See, Durvasa, you got to change your thinking here. You're thinking you're a big man. I know Brahma, I know Shiva, I can get to Narayan, I can get this fixed. Sorry. That's not the way it works. Devotees actually see everybody equally. So start with that. Stop thinking you're a big man. Lower yourself to understand who you really are. And then he explains in the context of that those pure devotees are equal to everyone. So how is it, Devas, you're equal to everyone? Were you equal to everyone when you cursed him for what you thought was an offense but wasn't even an offense? You're running around the universe in fear of the Sudarshan chakra. Did you ever stop to think about what happened when you cursed Ambarish? What was his experience like? Probably mentioned in the purport that wisdoms mean, okay, if it's a problem for me, it's a problem for others. So Devas, you just caused a big problem for somebody who actually is connected to me. I don't need your social connections. Prabhupada says you're two paisa thread. I don't need your two paisa thread. He says what matters to me is devotion. So you thought you had connections. You have no connections. The people that have connections, the people that actually know how to influence things, those are the pure devotees. And they're sympathetic for everyone, and you blew it on that. You messed up big time. Not only did you offend just another living entity, you offended someone who's dear to me. So this is especially wrong. And then he says that such persons who see like that, they're actually learned, not you. You think you're learned, you're not learned. So he's really humbling him. I mean, he's in this very difficult position. So the Lord is saying, hey, straighten out your consciousness a little bit. And then he goes on and reveals this amazing information that actually you think you're so powerful, you think you're such a controller, you think you know so many people, now you've come to me. I actually am the greatest controller, but I'm controlled by the devotees. So you can just imagine Durvasa Muni, he ran to Brahma, please, phew, I made it, he hasn't caught me yet, help me. Can't do it. Now what? Go to Shiva. Races across the universe. Shiva, help, remember me? Can't help you. What do I do now? Go see Narayan. Runs across the sea, learn Narayan. Help. He said, wait a minute, He's thinking, wow, I got here. Chakra's not here yet. Please, Narayan, help me. He said, oh, you got to help yourself. Because you think I'm the big controller because you're attached to being a controller. I'm actually controlled by bhakti. And you don't have any of that. But you know who does? He's going to tell him. You know who does? Ambarish. So the one you offended actually is the secret to saving you. He's explained them in a few more verses. So for Devas Muni, again, it's still about power and status, and the Lord is saying to him, real power is bhakti. And then in this verse, he gives this amazing example. Again, Devasa Muni, big Brahmin, many followers, so much mystic powers, and he's so connected. And what's the Lord tell him? Devasa Muni, let me give you a little tip. You got to become like a woman. And not just any woman, a chaste woman who works in a cooperative mood and learns how to bring her husband under her control by her service and her humility and her devotion and her sattvic spiritual qualities. So again, big man. It's kind of like saying to somebody in some very class-conscious society, you need to become more like the chauffeur. Big boss. Why don't you become like the guy that drives your car? He's really got good qualities. That's what he's saying. And in terms of social status, not to offend the ladies at all, but the exact opposite. The Lord himself is saying to Devas Muni, you need to become like these ladies. So again, like one more shock for big Devasa Muni. You want to be powerful, you want to be successful, and you want to be free from this curse. So then you actually have to change your heart. And just the way gives this example, a chaste wife brings her husband under control. Understand the devotees, Ambarish Maharaj controls me. So if you want to become free from this curse, if Ambarish frees you from this curse, then I will free, then you'll be free. Then the Sudarshan chakra will go away. So he tells him, you need to surrender to those humble souls. You need to follow the footsteps of those humble souls. And he sends it back to Maharaj Ambarish. So this we can imagine. This is a huge, like they say, epiphany for Devasa Muni. His whole structure, okay, there's me. It's a couple guys bigger than me. Brahma's there, Shiva's there. If I need to, I'll go to Narayan, take care of everything. But like I'm way up in the pecking order. And his whole world order is being changed. No, you got to become like a humble wife who's serving her husband with love. You got to go back to Maharaj Ambarish and fall at his feet because he's controlling me. So, they say sometimes in English, an aha moment, like, oh. So the Lord's so kind to him, his whole world's been turned upside down. And I was reading this, I was thinking that we too should be praying to have such moments. Maybe not as dramatic as Durvasa Muni needed. I don't think we should ask to become such offenders that the Sudarshan Chakra chases us around the universe. But in our own small ways, we should seek this mercy of the Lord to have our material vision turned around. For us to realize that it's not about position or power. And we live in a world around us that's very, very much focused on position, status, and power, because people use or misuse their status, their position, their power for their sense gratification. And it's getting, in the last few years, it's getting, in the world stage, it's getting worse in a lot of ways. Huge governments are becoming more and more nationalistic around the world, saying this land belongs to us. Like I live in America. There's maybe a few million people that actually were there in the past. Everybody else is an immigrant. Everybody except a few Native Americans, the majority of whom they exterminated. My ancestors, white Europeans, exterminated those people. So when they talk about keep this land for Americans, like, well, what's an American? And some will think, well, it's me and my grandfather who came here 60 years ago. Well, then how is it yours? So whether it's, in so many countries, America is just one example. And Prabhupada says, there's so many examples, he gives so many talks, he says, it's just like a dog. He says, this mentality is like a dog. Somebody walks by the property, the dog's woof, woof, woof. Prabhupada said, this is my land, go away, woof, woof, woof. So how can they say it's their land? They're coming and going, just passing through. But it's a product of the same kind of mentality, position and power. We have the power, and people want to exploit it for sense gratification. Durvasa Muni wanted to exploit his position for his social standing and whatever type of materialistic pursuits he have. So this has to be a warning for us. Practically every verse in the Shastra. There's so many stories, but what's the purpose of it? For me to apply it in my life. Then you read another story. Oh, how does that apply to my life? Then there's another story. Oh, I better learn that lesson. And then there's another story and another history and another one and another one. And of course the tendency is, I find myself victimized by this a lot. Sometimes I'll sit in Bhagavatam class and I'm thinking about, Vishnu Das. And I sure hope Vishnu's listened to this class, because that point really applies to him, etc. A few smiles in the audience here, so maybe you've had a similar experience, right? We shouldn't hear Bhagavatam like that. We should hear Bhagavatam like, this is Lord, Narayan. In other places it's Narada Muni. In other places it's the four Kumaras. In other places it's, some examples, it's Krishna, it's Uddhava. So many people instructing Maitreya. Instructing, and we should try to think and remember, actually, that this is for me. The Bhagavatam spoken for me. Prabhupada talks about that in reference to Bhagavad Gita, was that Krishna spoke it to Arjuna, but actually spoken for all humanity. So we're part of humanity. So in a similar way, we should try to think, okay, Durvasa Muni, the principle is he was affected by his power, his prestige, and his status. So how am I affected by that? Now maybe it affected him in a big way, maybe me only a little way, but it only takes a little material consciousness to keep us in the cycle of birth and death. So by Prabhupada's grace, he's presenting this Bhagavatam for us, and it's created a structure we can hear with other devotees on a regular basis. So then we should be measuring. Prabhupada said we should actually measure our progress. One or maybe two verses of Gita, Prabhupada said we should measure our progress by these list of qualities. And sometimes you hear devotees say things like, well, I'm a devotee and everything happens naturally. You don't have to make, Prabhupada uses a term, you don't have to need any like external endeavor. And we don't need an external endeavor, we need an internal endeavor, which means through the process of bhakti we're supposed to hear these things and try to apply them. So we hear that a pure devotee is samadarshinaha, sees everyone equally. So the test is when we walk out the door, how do we respond to the person who accidentally, steps on us going down the stairs? Or bumps into us, or bicycle cuts us off on the super highways that are manifesting around Mayapur. How do we respond? Wait a minute, who are you? You know who I am? My bike's worth at least 100 more rupees than yours. How dare you cut me off, etc. And of course that tends to be our mentality, but we have to check it. We have to check it. We have to consciously check it. Just like the Lord's telling Devasa Muni, change your mentality. And he's going through like a rapid change process here. Rapid change. So we also have to go through that change. So we should check ourselves. We should think, how often do we allow ourselves to think that we're better than others? It happens a lot, doesn't it? Sometimes we might say it's all day long, every day. And certain times we become more obvious to that. But then we should remember, so many stories are there in the Shastra. I remember the beautiful story, Mahabharata, right? Dronacharya wants to test his two students, Duryodhana and Yudhishthira. You all know the story, but it's a good one. He says, Duryodhana, I have a challenge for you. You're a powerful man. You're my student. Here's my challenge specifically for you. Go out and come back before, I think, sunset, and show me, find one person, only one, better than yourself. Yes, Guru Maharaj, I'll do it. And he races off. And then he calls Yudhishthira. I don't know which one he talks to first, but then he gets Yudhishthira. Okay, Yudhishthira, here's your challenge. Before the end of the day, find one person lesser than yourself. And they both failed. Duryodhana came back and said, Guru Maharaj, I'm really sorry. I tried so hard. I couldn't find anybody better than me. What can I do? It's my destiny. I'm so good. I'm so spectacular. I couldn't find anybody. And Yudhishthira comes back and says, Guru Maharaj, I'm sorry, I couldn't find anyone. Everyone had a better quality, some quality better than me. I may be the king, I may be a Pandav, I may have so much money, opulence, history, great family, but still everyone has something better than me. So, different mentality. So how many times do we allow ourselves to think we're better than others? How many times do we allow ourselves to have the Devasa Muni mentality? How many times do we think, I'm a man? We tend to be in a patriarchal society, so I'm a man, I'm one notch up. Or I'm a husband, in the sense of, I'm the boss, or I'm a department head, or I'm a divisional head, or I'm GBC, or I'm Swami, or I'm Guru, this or that. These are all actually not who we are. Lord Chaitanya gave us the example. He said, I'm the servant of the servant of the servant. Lord Chaitanya says, I'm not a sannyasi. We may think, I'm a sannyasi. Lord Chaitanya says, I'm not really sannyasi. I'm just a servant. So it's a real practical thing. And it's illusion to the extent we think that I'm a Brahmin and these different things. It's an illusion. So it's a lesson for each of us. We should try to pray, please Lord, please let me see everyone equally. Please let me treat everyone with compassion as described here. Even Lord Jesus Christ, it's an interesting instruction. He said, your devotion to me is measured how you treat the least amongst you. We don't talk about that so much. We talk about treating everyone equally, but he's got a little even nicer nuance, I think, or a nice nuance. Measured by the least of... So we may think, I'm very respectful to everybody. Yeah, but how are you amongst the least? And those of you that live here in Bengal society, there's a lot of least out there. Now the Shastra says we don't see less and high and low, but we live in a culture that differentiates like that. So how do we treat the least? Do we treat the toilet washer with respect? The culture doesn't, but shouldn't, as Vaishnavas, shouldn't we? They may have their job, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated with respect. And do we treat, we go out the gate. Okay, there's devotees here, we go out the gate. There may be so many non-devotees who go to Calcutta. But do we treat those people with respect? Do we see them equally? That's what the Shastra says we should do. So I was, in closing, we know the temple's coming up soon. But we also know more important than the temple, right, there's the big structure there, it's beautiful, but there's no life, there's nothing really of meaning until what happens. What really makes it meaningful? When the deities move in, right? So what's inside the building is really more important than the outside. The outside's glorious, it's going to attract a lot of people, but as Vaishnavas we know what's inside actually matters the most. So in the same way, we put tilak on, right? Because the body is, what do we say? The body is a temple. So the body's a temple of God. So we wear dhotis or we wear saris, we wear tilak. But more important than the outside is the heart. It's the consciousness, it's the mood that we have inside. And to a large extent, that's measured, or it is measured, it can be measured, and we have to measure ourselves by how surrendered we are to the Lord, and also how we interact with others. Do we manifest the mentality of Ambarish, or are we allowing ourselves to still be and think and feel and act as followers of Devasa Muni? Which parampara are we in? And it's something only really we can judge. We have to judge. We have to look at ourselves and see how we can do better. So these verses are very nice for us to meditate on the two types of mentality. Here's a materialistic mentality, here's a devotional mentality. Okay, I have a little problem here, I need to work on that. Okay, I'm trying on that, okay, let's do that more. And understand that ultimately the Lord, that's what He's pleased by. He's not pleased by status. So many examples. He's not pleased by status. He could care less what our position is. When they burn you down by the Ganga, an ash is an ash is an ash. But the consciousness is what matters. So that's the important thing. So I'm going to break my pattern. I have a tendency to talk right up to the last minute, but I'll stop and see if there's any questions or comments, or if we're just all going to eat breakfast early today. Yes?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class, Prabhu. And how do we see and treat everyone equally when every one of us has such different circumstances and different service? How do we offer proper respect?
Well, one thing Prabhupada mentions in this purport, and it's said many other places, and he refers to 5.18 in the Bhagavad Gita, but he mentions that a devotee can comprehend the happiness and distress of all living beings or entities. He understands what is happiness to him or her is also happiness to others, and what is distress to him is distressing to others. Therefore, he's sympathetic to everyone. So, we all, because of our bodily consciousness of life, we all kind of walk around like these little conscious beings in a set of senses that are very aware of, okay, it's too hot, no, it's too cold, oh, it's too crowded, there's nobody here, or oh, I stubbed my toe, or this. We're just like constantly immersed in my sensual, selfish experience. But as we're advancing, we start becoming more and more aware of others. Prabhupada gives the example like a baby just thinks about food and then gradually realizes, oh, there's a mother, there's two people here, and then there's a father, then there's sisters and brothers, and then there's society, etc. So we're trying to awaken that consciousness. So just like I was thinking some time ago, I was in the temple and trying to pray, dear Lord, help me with this, help me with that. And then I looked around the room and I thought, there's a lot of people here praying to the Lord. And I just hope He satisfies all their desires. So I tried to squeeze in a little time before the end of the darshan to pray for everybody else. Because I could see for me, I'm just thinking about me. Sometimes I get real generous. Lord, can you help these people in this temple in my area of the world? Can you help these people? And here's my family and these friends. So I expand a little bit. But I was like, no, actually, Lord Nishingane, please protect the world. Please help all the people that are suffering, etc. So a big part of it is trying to expand our consciousness to see that, like a lot of times when there's a conflict between people, she said something rude to me. How often do we stop and think, well, why did she say something rude to me? What's going on in her life? We may think, like Durvasa Muni, I'm so offended. Braj Bihari Prabhu, who teaches ISKCON Resolve and mediation, he gives this wonderful teaching. We're all aware of our own intention, but we don't understand the impact on other people. And we're very aware of other people's impact on me, but very rarely do I know their intention. So let's say somebody comes in and gives you a big hug. Prabhu, so nice to see you. What was their intention? It was to show some affection and support. But, they don't necessarily know I broke my shoulder last week and they just re-broke it. So their intention was good, but they don't know the impact. So I have to be careful. I just don't measure everything on the impact. Oh, Prabhu, you broke my shoulder again, you rascal. Well, no, he was actually trying to show me some affection. So that's a big part of it too. We have to catch ourselves and stop and think, okay, so there's this disagreement, and he or she just said something really nasty. So I can just elevate the whole problem on the basis of how it affected me. Or I can stop and think, why did they say that? What kind of difficulties are they going through? Are they having some health crisis, some financial crisis, some family crisis, some spiritual crisis? Who knows what's going on in their life? I always think, I had an experience when I was a new devotee in Denver, Colorado. I remember sitting down at breakfast. There was a devotee sitting next to me, and I don't even remember who it was, but he was very quiet and withdrawn, and I just kind of was feeling my own issues for the day, and I didn't say anything to him. I noticed he was really quiet. And the next day he was gone, and I never saw him again. So, I think back on that. I was so absorbed in what my experience was, I wasn't thinking about his happiness and distress and pains and pleasures. But if I really was a Vaishnava, I would have been, like my radar would have been out about others. That's what is, talk about devotees, they go all across the world to help others. So that means I got to be aware of others' situation. So that's a big part of it. I should have been aware of, maybe I could have helped them. But I was thinking about me. And spiritual life means chanting Hare Krishna and becoming purified to the point we stop thinking about me. Yes. Hare Krishna. And just as a footnote, I by no means claim to be at some of these high levels we're talking about, but we learn about them by discussing with each other, and it helps us focus our own me too status. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
We are now reading about Ambarish Maharaj, who is a Raja Rishi, and but we know also from the Bhagavad Gita that Kshatriyas, their nature is in the mode of passion, which means Ishvara Bhav. So we also learned that we are actually supposed to be servant leaders in ISKCON. But what makes a good leader? Doesn't he need some Ishvara Bhav?
That's your question?
Yes.
Ishvara Bhav doesn't mean Ishvara abuse. There's a big difference. Ambarish Maharaj, he's the king. Durvasa is just a priest. Okay, he's a Brahmin. Ambarish Maharaj he's the king. And he's very humbly depending on the Lord for his mercy. He's doing austerities, performing fasts. He's worried about Durvasa Muni. He feels guilty the Sudarshan Chakra is chasing him around. And he's a king. And he's the example of a king. So, when we talk about, Kshatriyas, this, that, we're not supposed to be Kshatriyas. We're not supposed to be Vaishyas. We're not supposed to be Shudras. We're not even supposed to be Brahmanas. We're supposed to be devotees. Because as soon as I start thinking I'm a Brahmana, I can't do that. Brahmanas don't do that. I'm a Brahmana, you're lower than me. See, or I'm a Kshatriya, I'm the controller. Excuse me. There's only one controller in this house. That's the deities. Right? So we act like that. You know, there's a beautiful prayer from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he talks about that in the mood of Grihastas, how I'm accepting this home, I'm accepting this house, I'm accepting this wife, I'm accepting these children, but I'm only doing it for you. Right? So if we have some position of where, you know, have a service of management or leadership or control, if we're understanding properly, then we're thinking, I'm controlling it for you, and all these devotees are yours. And all these visitors are yours, and the cows are yours, and the buildings are yours, and the grass is yours, and this poor guy weeding the weeds, he's not a poor guy weeding the weeds, he's Krishna's devotee, he's Lord Chaitanya's servant, and I'm supposed to be taking care of him, and her, and the children, and the old people, and everything else. So that's real Ishvara Bhav. Ishvara Bhav doesn't mean, look, I'm big, tough, and strong. That's what Durvasa Muni thought, I'm big, tough, and strong, and Krishna, you know, there was a plan to show him the reality. So I would just say, you know, we have to be careful when we start talking about, you know, what's our different status. Our first is dasa, 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 dasa. That's our status. And from there we may take on different responsibilities. For a while you may be a mother or a father, but that's going to be gone. For a while you may be in charge of the department, that's going to be gone. For a while you may have a big, strong, or young, beautiful body, that's going to be gone. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, can we go to this side of the room? I don't want to be accused of bias here. Yes, maybe by the window. I think I saw you first. Sometimes.
These days we see same person behaving like various persons, like there is Kamsa in him and also a Krishna in him. Is he a psycho, and how do we deal with it, with such a person?
I need help with the question. You may get it?
Now, sometimes there is a person who behaves like nice person and also a bad person. Like there is a Kamsa and also Krishna in him. So is that person a psycho? And if he is, how do we deal with him?
The word I missed, is that person?
Psycho.
Psycho?
He has some psychotic problem.
Well, you know, Prabhupada wrote that book, Who's Crazy? So you can say, who's psycho? We're all psycho. 1, we think we're the body. 2, we think we're the controller. 3, we think we're going to live forever. 4, we think sense gratification will make us happy. I heard a new joke this morning, very short one. Material enjoyment. It's like a joke. There's no real enjoyment to our world. So you put those two words together, it's like it doesn't work. The joke doesn't work either. I didn't think it was that funny myself, but now you know we have proof. It's not so funny. But yeah, it just, I mean, we're all crazy. We're all crazy because we're thinking, you know, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending will make us happy. We think that by, you know, exploiting other people is going to make me happy. We're thinking money is going to make me happy. Position is going to make me happy. Power is going to make me happy. It can't do it. Sense gratification is going to make me happy. But that's not really who we are. That's just a temporary covering. In the core, Krishna says, you know, we're all eternal spiritual beings, brighter than the sun. You know, all the wonderful, glorious things we read about, you know, pure devotees are like this, pure devotees are like that. That's who we are, but not now, because we're covered over. That's our aspiration. So that's like I was mentioning, we have to make the right choices. And we're going to make a lot of mistakes, and we're going to get still some karmic reactions for our mistakes. And Krishna's teaching us, He's helping us. But we have to be trying to hear and apply it as best we can in our day-to-day lives. So when we meet other people, we shouldn't think, okay, he's a saint, he's a sinner. Everybody's a mixture. We're all like they say, there's this English expression, we're a work in progress. But we should make sure that we're helping Krishna work on us, and we should be a little patient with others. Okay?
I felt that maybe they are Mayavadis confused whether they should be Krishna or Ravana or Kamsa.
We're all confused. Why did we come here? We all wanted to be Krishna. I think again we have to stop thinking he's a Mayavadi, I'm a devotee. I'm a Mayavadi, you know? I'm not convinced Krishna's God. If I was, I'd be pure devotee. I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to whenever we try to control, that means we're trying to be a Mayavadi. Whenever we don't want to have the, some authority gives us instruction, we don't want to hear it, I'm being a Mayavadi. I'm being impersonalist. I want it to be independent. So, we all have these contaminations, and we all have the original pure nature. And, another nice instruction from the biblical tradition, judge not lest you be judged. I give a lot of classes about that when I'm here, about we become just like any other materialistic person. As soon as we start thinking we're better than somebody else, we're in big trouble. Individually, communally, socially. The whole world's messed up today because all the religions, all the ethnic groups, the gender groups, the nationalistic groups, the racial groups, the religious groups especially, they're all thinking we're better than everybody else. So then let's fight about it. Great. You get a whole universe. We got a whole universe we can try to conquer. And if that's not enough, we can come back again, try to conquer another few universes. Krishna's like, great, go for it. That's what you want, go for it. But you're not going to get me. So as long as we're thinking their problem, their problem, their problem, that's what Durvas was thinking. Ambarish, it's your problem. Look at the trouble you caused. The Lord says, wait, stop. Chill out. Run around the universe a few times. Go see Brahma. Go see Shiva. Now, you ready to hear? Okay, are you sure? There comes the chakra. You ready? You're the problem, Durvas. You're the problem. And you got to go talk to Ambarish and try to be like him. And just in case you didn't get it, while you're going to see Ambarish, think about the fact you're supposed to become like a chaste wife to her husband. Swallow that one, my dear Ahankara Das. Okay? Maybe one more?
So devotees read Who's Crazy?
No, wait, that was two. Sorry, Prabhu.
I was just ending.
Here, one last question.
Trying to understand.
Yeah.
I was just saying that. So
okay, wait, let's do another question. We can talk afterwards, because if I try the third time, you still may not get it. So can you hand him the mic, Prabhu? My watch says 2 minutes to 9. Is this one faster? Okay, so we have 2 minutes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Treating everybody equally is a good quality. But in work life, when you humble and treat everybody equal, you get neglected, or you treated differently.
See, humble and sweet doesn't mean like a gulab jamun dripping juice. It means you give nourishment to people. Just like with your children, you have to be loving, and you sometimes have to be a little firm with them too. But the firmness comes out of love, not from anger, not from a desire to control, not because I'm the father, you have to do it because I said you do. But because Prabhupada, and Leela Reed has described that Prabhupada's own father sometimes would have to chastise him when he was a little boy. And he would tell him, he would apologize first. I have to chastise you now, I have to discipline you. But even Mahaprabhu's father disciplined him. So it wasn't like, I'm your father, do what I say. Too many of us had that kind of experience. That doesn't go anywhere. And that doesn't enhance their love. And with the employees too. Sometimes you have to be a little firm. But employees, they're human beings, they're spirit souls. Here's the rules. Here's why we have the rules. Here's why the rules are good for you, good for me, good for the company, good for the planet, good for the environment, good for the neighborhood, good for everybody. It's not about profit first. It's about people first. We're also going to make a profit. And part of that means these are the rules we have. Do you understand these rules? Do you understand why they're good for you? Do you understand why they're good for us? Yeah, I do. Okay, let's follow them. Okay. Hey, you broke the rules. I don't get it. I thought you understood the rules. Well, yeah, but okay, no problem. Clear this time? These are the rules. Next time, it's going to be a serious problem. Because the rules are good for you. You agreed with that? Yeah, I agreed. Okay. Next time there's a problem, bye. So you can be firm, but you make sure that the rules and everything is based on what's good for them, not just selfishness. It's good for collectively good. And then you have expectations. And then it's up to them. If they follow, they get all the benefits. If they don't, it's their fault. It's not your fault because the rules weren't fair. It's their fault because they made the wrong choices. Okay? Thank you. So we'll stop there. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai.